My homestead is a place where I have the freedom to create, nurture, and thrive in harmony with the environment. In this video, I will take you on a journey through a typical chores at my homestead. My mornings usually start with me heading out to open the chicken's coop and provide chick with their breakfast. I absolutely adore the sight of those little furry creatures eagerly rushing out, spreading their wings wide in excitement. It's truly a heartwarming moment that set a positive tone for the rest of my day. Growing vegetables is one of the most rewarding experiences at my homestead. I take great joy in nurturing plants from seed to harvest. It's a journey filled with anticipation, learning, and delicious rewards. Every day I attentively care for my plants. I provide them with sufficient water, making sure not to overwater or underwater. Weeding becomes a regular task as I remove any unwanted plants that might compete for nutrients and space. I also take proactive measures to protect my plants from pests using organic pest control methods. When you watch my video, you only see the end result. But let me tell you, there is so much more to it that meets the eye. You can hardly grasp the amount of effort, care, and love I pour into these plants and my animals. Keeping these plants alive and thriving requires dedication and time. It's not something you can just set and forget. From watering, fertilizing to pruning and weeding, it's an ongoing commitment that occupies most of my day. But you know what? It's time well spent. I genuinely enjoy every moment I spend tending to these plants. It's a tangible reminder of the connection we have with nature and the importance of nurturing and preserving it. And then comes the most exciting part, the harvest. It's a pure joy to know that I have grown these vegetables from my own hands, without any harmful chemicals or pesticides. Growing vegetables and harvesting crops on my homestead is not just about the food on my plate. It's about connecting with nature, understanding the cycle of life, and embracing the satisfaction that comes from self-sufficiency. It's about nourishing my body, mind, and soul with the fruits of my labor. Each bite is a reminder of the care, dedication, and love that went into growing these vegetables. Summer is finally here, and you know what that means? It's time for me to spend most of my days freezing and canning food for the winter. You know what gets me really excited? Modern technology. I'm that unique person who can effortlessly blend my passion for nature with my love for modern technology and the internet. For me, it's not about choosing one over the other. Instead, I see them as complementary forces that enhance my experience and enable me to make a difference. It's It's amazing how modern technology allows us to keep food incredibly fresh until winter comes knocking. And let me tell you, investing in a quick freezer has been one of the best decisions I've ever made. I got mine about 4 years ago when I was still living in an apartment, and it's been a game changer ever since. There's anything and everything I can get my hands on. Fruits, veggies, you name it. I love the fact that when winter rolls around, I can just reach into the freezer and pull out any fruit I fancy, and it tastes just as fresh as it were picked that very day. I planted my strawberries in the spring, and that's why they didn't yield much. So I decided to head over to my mom's place and pick her strawberries instead. You know, this little piece of land holds a special place in my heart. It's where I spent my childhood and where my love for the land and the joy of growing plants began. I am incredibly grateful that my childhood was filled with such close connection to nature. As I was getting ready to head back home, I couldn't help but marvel at the mother's garden. She had this amazing collection of flowers, and the fragrance is simply mesmerizing. I couldn't resist the temptation and ended up snipping a couple of them. You know, it's such a wonderful feeling to wake up in the morning and be greeted by the sheer beauty of those blooms right inside my room. You know what? The aroma of these flowers is simply incomparable to any of the so-called most beautiful ones you can find at the store. Seriously, there is no contest. This year, I'm determined to take my gardening efforts to a whole new level. Last summer, I went all out and froze a massive amount of fruits and vegetables, thinking I was all set for the colder months ahead. Little did I know that we would face an unexpected challenge this winter. Constant power outages due to shelling of Ukraine's energy structure. It was a real struggle. There were times when we had no electricity for 5 consecutive days, while in normal times we would at least have 6 hours of power each day. Unfortunately, my freezer couldn't handle the prolonged outages, and I ended up having to throw out most of the frozen food. And I can't tell you how grateful I was for jars lining my pantry shelves. Since my entire house relies on electricity, including the cooking appliances, it was a real challenge to prepare meals during those dark days. But thanks to the canned food, we managed to sustain ourselves. I want to be thoroughly prepared to outcoming winter. Next winter might be just as challenging, if not more. And I want to make sure my family and I have enough food to get us through the tough times. Also, a crucial part of my day is connecting with my child. I've set a firm rule for myself. We dedicate at least half an hour every day to playing a game of her choice. It might not seem like a lot of time, but in the midst of all the chaos and busyness, it's easy to overlook just how much our children long for our attention, even when we're physically present. It's a small but meaningful way to show my child how much I love and cherish her. let's now forget about the care and feeding of my adorable pets. It's a daily routine for me to make sure they're well fed, their body is fresh, and their brood is clean. These little critters have grown so much already, and they're just too cute and funny to resist. Sometimes we'll just sit there and watch them, finding both joy in their antics. It's amazing how these little creatures bring so much happiness into our lives. I had an abundance of strawberries, so I thought why not make some homemade jam. Following the recipe, I boiled it for 3 days, each time for about 10 minutes. Finally, the time came to transfer it into jars and seal them up. You know what's really awesome? These handy twist of jars that make the whole process so much easier. Plus, now we can conveniently sterilize them in the oven. Back when I was a kid, my mom used to use this special wrench to seal the jar, and we had to go through the whole boiling in water process. It was quite inconvenient and time-consuming. I'm thrilled about how times are changing, and I'm genuinely excited to dive into the work on my homestead with so much enthusiasm. It's exactly what I've always dreamed of, and it brings me immense joy. Seriously, it's like living out my dreams and finding true happiness in the process.